G'day guys, Clarkey here. Welcome back to an IGTV, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching. This is going to be my SuperCoach side. This is my first ever year playing SuperCoach. Just never really had the time in the past. Always just been so focused on the page and stuff. But a lot of the boys at work are playing, so I figured I might as well jump in and give it a go this year. So let's go ahead. If you are here for, I guess, tips of a higher scale, I probably wouldn't bother. It's my first year. If anything, I'm more making this video for you guys to hopefully jump in the comments section and help me out a bit. And one more thing before we start, guys, I am looking for people to come on and help me produce SuperCoach content. So I had an old work friend, Kyle. He messaged me. He came up with 15 cash cows. I did up the graphics, did up the write-up, etc. with his research, and he got featured on the page. So if you're a SuperCoach fan, you know your shit basically, and you want to have an established platform to post your material, then Clarkey's column could definitely be the location for you. But yeah, we'll start off with my team. So I went with Cameron Smith at hooker, and a lot of these selections I sort of made based on the premises of players that I think will have a good year. Not too much, I suppose, research as far as SuperCoach goes went into this. It's more so my opinion on who I believe will have a strong year. So starting team, I went with Cam Smith at hooker. Payne Haas at front row. I think that was an obvious choice. I think he's going to have another dominant season. And Liam Knight, I think with Sam Burgess' retirement, his minutes will go up at Souths. And I was listening to Adam Reynolds speak on a podcast recently. He believes Liam Knight is the man that's going to become their enforcer. So certainly one to watch there. For second rows, I went with John Bateman. I think he'll have another strong year with the Raiders. I just love his ability to, hit those lines outside, but also come in for the early hit-ups. He does everything, really, so he was a must-have for me. And Ryan James, obviously Gold Coast Titans captain, big fan of him personally, and he was relatively cheap at $354,000. He is returning from an ACL injury, so I suppose that's a bit of a question mark there. But yeah, I would hope that he has a great year. Zane Tedovano from Panthers, I think his minutes will go up. At the Roosters, he was restricted behind Takiaho and Jared Rea-Hargraves. And I mean, rightly so, those two of those were in the top three for the Golden Boot. It was between them and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So, it does make sense that he wasn't getting as many minutes. But they should go up at the Panthers. He's even a chance to start there. James Tarmo definitely has one of those prop positions. But then for me, the second one's between Tedovano and Moses Leota. And I would probably have Tedovano ahead of him just for his experience. Halfbacks, I went with Sean Johnson and Luke Keary. Sean Johnson, I think if he stays healthy this year, he'll take on goal kicking again, so he'll get points there. But it really comes back to a healthy Sean Johnson. I think a lot of the league have forgotten just how dominant and how good he is. And particularly playing behind the Sharks. They're a pretty consistent forward pack, and I mean, they have been for a while now. That's part of the reason why I can't remember the last time Sharks missed the finals. They've made it consistently over this past 6 years, at least. And that's because they have such a dominant forward pack. So SJ is definitely a player able to capitalise on that. And, of course, I went Luke Keary. I think he'll step up in the absence of Cooper Cronk, which should see his scoring go up. For my wings and centres, guys, I have Justin Olam. Because I believe with the centre options being a bit short, I firmly believe he becomes a main attacking weapon on that left side with Josh Addo-Carr. He's not afraid to come in for an early hit up. He's a hard-working player. One I see making some good points. Blake Ferguson, I believe if he stays healthy this year, he will lead the NRL in run meters and post-contact meters. He'll probably even have the most amount of runs. He loves an early hit up. Jared Croker, goal kicker, consistent as, always gets his SuperCoach points. And Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, I think he's pretty cheap there for a centre wing at $332,000 because he'll be making fullback money at the Bulldogs. And he is a very, very active player. He revitalised the Bulldogs attack, really, when he came there last year. So I don't see a reason why he wouldn't score a lot of points and have a successful SuperCoach season, if you will. And for my fullback, Tom Travois, I mean, you'll see it later today when I release some 2020 predictions, but he's my predicted pick for the Dally M medal. I think at the end of this year, we sort of start discussing him as in that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and James Tedesco debate. I do believe that 24 years of age, I believe he's coming into his own game, his own body last year, but obviously injuries disrupted it heavily. On the bench, I've got Blake Braley. Now, from what I understand as far as SuperCoach goes, given he will be playing close to 80 minutes, at $201,000, he is a must-have there at hooker, guys. Obviously, you don't want to hold on to him for the whole season, but his price will definitely go up. And then from what I understand, you can sell him and you'll have more money in your salary cap to sign, a larger known hooker there. I've gone with Kane Evans on the bench also for my front row. I think he'll have a good year at the Eels. There's a lot of competition for spots there, and I really started to like what I saw from him towards the end of 2019. And Jacob Saifidi, I think he's a nice cheapie there, $208K. His NRL stats weren't too impressive last year, and that's probably because he only averaged something like 15, 20 minutes game time in NRL. But as far as New South Wales Cup went, he was averaging a lot more minutes, so there's evidence to suggest the match fitness is there, and he was running double the run meters and making more tackles. So I suppose it's a bit of a risky selection there, but it definitely does have a lot of upside. Billy Magoulias, really, really love this guy. Watched a lot of Newtown Jets games last year, and he reminds me of a Wade Graham cross Paul Gallen. I know that's really big expectation to throw on a young kid's shoulders, but I think he has a fantastic work ethic, great kicking game, great passing game, great running game, and he's solid defensively. So I would definitely recommend you get him in your side somewhere. Tyrell Fuimaono. Not too sold on this one. I sort of just picked him up. But, new club. Perhaps he comes in with a good work ethic, trying to press for a spot in that 17 at the Dragons. And I also have him because out of all the clubs in the NRL, the Dragons probably have the least cemented 17 because they went so poor last year, and they do have quite a bit of depth. Darius Farmer from the Gold Coast Titans. So he's a young gun from around the Brisbane area, junior rugby league, very well known. Very good player. I believe he had some form of cancer last year, but he's overcome that. He's fully healthy, and he's set his focus towards a debut, and I hope he gets to wear the Titans colours. I'm a Titans fan myself. It'd be good to see him there. Jake Turpin, I have him as my backup halfback. I sort of did that because rumours at this stage suggest he is ahead of Andrew McCulloch. So, he could be making hooker points in a halfback role. I'm not sure if that's very conventional for SuperCoach, and I would appreciate some advice on that one in the comments. George Williams, $333,000, a risky one, but we know he's going to start at halfback, so he will make some points there no matter what, but still risky because we haven't seen him in the NRL. Jason Saab, $271K. I believe he will start for the Dragons this year. I think he's had 2 games in the NRL now, 3 tries or something. But so much upside and potential to this. And, the new rules in the NRL, I'm not too sure. A lot of people aren't familiar with this yet. If I was to jump up and catch the ball now, and I'm in the air, I cannot be touched by the defender until both my feet are back on the ground. So Jason Saab goes up off a nice Ben Hunt kick. Jason Saab catches the ball, can't be touched. It's almost, it's going to be a penalty try, I believe, if defenders are pushing in the air or tackling in the air. Previously, if a bomb was put up and you were the defending team and you were going for it, you couldn't be tackled in the air. And we all know that rule. But now, the attacking player can also not be tackled or touched in the air, which players like Xavier Coates, Jason Saab, these big outside backs that are cheap and have really good jumping ability that does make them a valuable prospect. Tommy Talau, a couple question marks as to whether he'll start or not with BJ Leilua signing for the Tigers, but we must remember Moses Mbai is training at hooker. So you have Moses Mbai's centre position opening up, and we know that Isan Masters has departed the club. So realistically, although you don't sign BJ Leilua to play reserve grade or whatever, there are 2 positions open for Tommy Talau on the centres there. So he's another one you want to definitely have in your team. Albert Hopewate, I'm not sure how fast he'll be tracked into first grade because he is coming back from an ACL injury. But if you watch any younger grades footy, he is extremely dominant. He's a tackle breaker. He was faster than a lot of the other kids. His age, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that he could grab a spot on that Manly wing at some stage this year and hold it for a long time and come into the NRL really as a dominant centre like his brother Will did a couple years ago. And then Bradman Best is my backup fullback. I have heard in SuperCoach the tactic is to have 2 gun fullbacks. Bradman Best, I believe, will start at centre or wing for the Knights. So maybe I would need to look at getting someone else there. But look, guys, Bradman Best, another one you want to squeeze somewhere into your team just for the potential this kid has. But that's it for me, guys. That is my SuperCoach team for this year, or at this stage. Obviously, I'm going to be making some big changes to it as the off-season continues. Just want to say thanks so much for the support this off-season, guys, to date. And if you have any SuperCoach advice, or you want to be featured on the page with some of your research, I'll do all the graphics. I'll take care of it. You just do the research, baby. Hit me up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in future videos.